Hello, everyone, and welcome to the next session of From Nothing, Irolahne's story. We are going to fast forward a little bit after your meeting Stoic to the next morning. Or rather, right before you wake up the next morning. I'd like a wisdom saving throw, please.
Great. Let's see if I can wake up on time. Is this going to be a thing?
Might be. All right. With a natural 1. The darkness of sleep is suddenly filled with color. But amongst that color is pain. And while you don't know exactly what the source is, you have this distinct sense, a memory. You remember trying to move. You remember moving. But not as if you were walking on land or flying through the air. You remember moving by thinking about it. You remember seeing an upturned, inverted temple, upside down from your perspective, but it wasn't upside down. You don't believe there is an up or down here. And as you forced yourself to fly closer to that structure, there is a bright flash of white, and then darkness. And as quickly as it began, you are lying awake in your bed, and it is dark. Too dark for it to be morning. You are in a cold sweat, and your head hurts. You take 2 points of psychic damage.
Okay. Great start to the day.
Could have been worse.
Could have been worse. I could be late for class.
That's true. You could be.
I'm going to look around. Is there anybody else here?
You see that your roommate is... You finally set eyes on your roommate. They are in their bed. They are sound asleep. You see it is a short, human-looking man. He is bundled up under the covers. You see that there is a small beige nightcap hiding most of his hair, but you can see a few locks of maybe dark brown peering out from underneath it. As they are asleep, you don't get a very good look at their face. Other than that, no, the room's empty.
What time does it feel like it might be?
Probably about 3 or 4 in the morning.
Okay. She's gonna go for a walk.
Okay. You go for a walk through the castle, outside of the castle, into the town. Where?
Through the castle, outside to the outside, probably to maybe a secluded part of the woods. That seems
towards the
not too
back of the
far.
castle. Okay.
Yeah, not too far, but far enough that she doesn't think she's gonna be followed.
Okay. As you head out, you see that the halls of the Maryguard Academy are patrolled. There are these suits of armor that march along the corridors. And while there are sights of a couple individuals, they may be students, they may be contractors, you're not sure. Persh is not at his desk. It looks as though it's a little too early in the morning for business to be taking place here.
She might have mistakenly addressed one of the suits of armor, like, hello, and doesn't respond.
It would stop as it was addressed, but it wouldn't say anything. And with a quick look, you'd see that the helmets are empty.
Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to bother you. Um, I'll just be going. Should move on.
Okay, as you walk past it, eventually that suit of armor would continue moving.
Yeah, she's gonna go about her way and see if she can go find a little spot to be by herself.
Simple enough. Heading out the Merryguard Academy and then going out behind it, it is no real issue to find a secluded place behind the castle. I will pull up the Allen Wood. And as you are here, the sun's just beginning to rise. What do you do?
She's gonna take this moment to actually drop her glamour, and revert back to draconic form.
Okay.
And stretch her wings a little bit. She wants to see if she can practice her breath weapon.
Okay. Which?
What do you mean, which?
So, as you concentrate on this feeling, on the breath weapon that you know you innately have, you can't help but feel like a decision has to be made. As you draw upon it, you feel as though you need to intend to harm or to dismiss.
Oh. Is this a final choice, or?
No? You don't think so?
Well, there's nothing there to dismiss, so she's just gonna aim at at a pile of, not even a pile, just like a bush or something, and she's gonna harm. And she's
okay. All right. Roll me a charisma check.
Okay. I really should keep that open. Okay, charisma. Ability check. Normal. 18 for whatever it comes to. An 18.
18. You concentrate on this innate feeling, and as you decide on damage, you open your mouth and you feel this wind, this hot feeling. It's exhilarating and strikes adrenaline throughout your body, but you also feel like you need to direct it. And as you point toward a group of trees and brush, this powerful gray burst of sparkling, maybe it's glitter or shards of glass, just surge from your mouth out and in a jet of very powerful and hot wind, and you watch as it blasts the bark off of the tree and absolutely obliterates the nearby brush around it until there is a swath within the shape of a 30-foot cone of just where the ground has been devastated by your breath weapon. After having cast it, after having performed the breath weapon, you feel drained, as if you don't think you can do that again for a little while.
She's gonna be surprised. She's gonna be like, "That was so cool. I have to show Tabernacle. Oh, maybe later." She's gonna do like a little dance. She's like, "Oh, I did have it in me. He was right."
However, roll me a D100.
Oh boy. That's a 19.
Well, with a 19, no one seems to appear. You remain discreet.
Woo! Um, that goes to her next thought. Well, actually, it's starting to become dawn, right?
It is basically dawn now. It's right before sunrise.
Um,
I should say it's right before the first sunrise, so the sky is taking a particular blue hue to it.
it's only just now occurring to her that she doesn't know how to fly here. Um, Not that that would matter. She has nowhere to go. But with her wings outstretched, she's gonna be like, wait a second. I've never actually used these. So while she still has time, she's going to experiment trying to lift off the ground.
Okay. In this case, roll me an. All right, roll me a strength check.
Okay. Mm.
You try to flap, but because you don't know which muscles you need to tense, how you're supposed to manage a rigid wingspan, you flap your arms, and there is a breeze created, but you do not lift off the ground. You feel like maybe there's a trick to this that you don't understand.
Can't fly in my dreams. I can't fly here. This is confusing and unfortunate. Okay. After this amount of time, is it looking a little bit more bright out? Possibly
Yes.
time to get back. Okay. She's gonna try and bring her glamour back.
You do not need to try. It is successful.
Okay.
This is a thing you can do innately.
All right. Well, to her, she has to think really hard on it.
Sure.
Um, she's gonna head back. She's probably not gonna have time for a little bit more sleep, so she's just gonna go back to the room and gather her things.
Okay. When you head back to the room, you see that your roommate is awake and is getting dressed. And as you enter, he looks at you and he says, "Oh, sorry. I thought you'd already gone."
Uh, I was I was just out for a spell. I
This is
did I
what
wake
he
you?
looks like, by the way. Um, he says, no, I woke up just maybe 10 minutes ago, but you weren't here, so I assumed I was. Do you need the room? Do you need privacy? I've never shared a room with anyone before.
Me neither. Um, no. I'm just here to get my stuff and probably head to the classroom.
You're
It's
not getting
about that
breakfast?
time. Uh, what do I have time?
Yes, you do. You have about an
Okay.
hour before class starts.
I mean, I guess I could snag a bite.
Well,
I
that's what
just,
I'm doing. You're welcome to come with me if you like.
uh, sure. I just don't want to be late. I was late yesterday.
Hey,
She's gonna grab her stuff.
as Cordell, as he introduces himself as Cordell, he Cordell, as he introduces himself, gets his boots on. He will head out of the dormitory and head in the direction of the mess hall. As you've gathered your things, you do not have to go get breakfast if you don't want. It is your choice.
Um, she hasn't been to the mess hall. Um, so I mean, if she wonders about it, she's like, okay, well, I guess if I have time, I maybe it'll help this headache that I have. She actually doesn't know the way there.
Maxwell did show you.
Oh, did he? Okay. Then yes, she will go that way.
The mess hall is a large room lined with long tables that seem to fill the room one end to the other, and at the far side of the room there is a broad countertop where behind it, metal golems prepare and serve food out in large platters that students can go up and retrieve food whenever they like. And ahead of you, you see Cordell has gotten his own plate of food and is looking for a table to sit at. You see that on the counter there are platters of various eggs, and next to that you see there is huge stacks of waffles and a large basin of syrup next to it. And then next to that is a huge metal iron that is still hot, covered in sausages. And basically, it seems like a pretty hearty breakfast is being served right now. Do you get breakfast?
Yes. She's much like me in the sense that she does not like to go up to the food counter and feel watched, but she is going to grab a plate, and she's eyeballing those waffles because she just takes a big sniff, and that just smells really good to her. So she's gonna set her plate up with a couple of waffles, some sausages, and some eggs. Actually, eggs sound really nice.
Okay. If you eat the breakfast, you gain 6 temporary hit points.
3. So I am pretty sure that's. Wait, why didn't it take away my health?
Because
Okay.
you had temp before, I'm sure.
Oh, 2. Oh yeah. Oh yeah, from the sweet rolls
Mm-hmm.
or the things. Okay. How? Oh wait, hair and sick. Okay.
Now, as you have eaten breakfast, it is delicious. Uh, it goes down very smooth. No one really seems to take much notice of you. It seems as though everyone here is far more concerned with their own business, and there's conversations happening between them, but it is early in the morning, and it seems as though the majority of individuals here are not morning people. So there's kind of this solemn quietness within the mess hall.
Kind of this. Sorry, I cut out a little bit.
Okay. It's a solemn quietness of the early morning here.
She actually is quite happy with that and definitely feels a bit more comfortable here. Not feeling stared at.
Okay. After
Um,
you eat breakfast, do you head straight to the class?
Absolutely.
Okay.
She makes sure that the diamond is on her just in case.
Good.
Um, which
As you head to the classroom, let me switch the. Here it is.
awesome.
The sorcery classroom is as you remember it, and Cordell and Kana and many of the other various students that you haven't really become acquainted with yet are in there, and they are at rapt attention as Amila is getting herself ready for the lesson. And as you enter, she says, "Ah, Irolahne, I am pleased to see you. Do you have good news for me?"
I think so. Yeah, yeah, I do.
Well,
Um, she's gonna rummage through her pack and find the. I mean, how big is this thing? I don't remember.
a 50 gold diamond is actually pretty small. It's maybe about the size of a pea.
Okay, yeah. So she's gonna pluck it out of her bag and put it in the palm of her hand and present it to Amilla.
Amila picks up the diamond and looks at it, and as she does, she opens her hand, and you see that she begins to cast a spell with it. Immediately, a green, swirling, undulating orb of energy appears in her hands, and as she lobs it up into the air, it splashes against the ceiling of the room, and she says, "Perfect. 1 chromatic orb's diamond. Exactly what I needed. Well done. Top marks."
Thank you. Um, I think I got it. The way you asked. I had to do a lot.
I'd love a report, if you don't mind.
Oh well, I did get the price marked down a little bit. Um, I don't know. I guess I just felt like I needed to do something, so I got to accompany one of Glass's uh store clerks. I don't know, a little kobold that was outside.
Mm-hmm.
And then we had to go and talk to another kobold who apparently had wanted to trade. And then I had to go get some weeds, and then I came back and we exchanged and we fought a spider, and that was a mess. But it all got done eventually. I mean,
And how did you handle the fight with the spider?
I killed it.
Mm-hmm. Was it difficult?
Um,
Was it easy? Was it terrifying? Was it simple?
well, I'd be lying if I said it wasn't terrifying. It's a giant spider.
Sure.
Um, but it it spent most of its attention on the kobold I was with, so I guess it was pretty easy. Um, but he ended up really hurt, so I had to go get him some help. That's why it took me so long. I'm sorry. I would have gotten it to you yesterday.
That's fair. Now, there is an essence to every trade that you will have to keep in mind. Whether it is part of the party that you're working with or simple, solitary tasks that you're trying to handle. Money is money, but
Um,
time. Money is money, but time is also money. And you must decide how much your time is worth. And if, say, a bargain requires you to perform a task for the seller, or whatever it is you're trying to acquire, you have to decide if the time spent is worth it to you. Do you feel as though your time spent was worth the cost that you made up for this diamond?
well, I did settle a few things. Yeah, I mean, I was really hoping to avoid the spider, but if things are as they are, yeah, I agree. I think I yeah, it was right.
Do you think perhaps you've made some allies in this effort yesterday?
I hope so. Little fellow was really sweet, and I he could have left. I mean, and ran, but he stayed and helped. So
It sounds like it was worth your while. However, we do need to iron out exactly what it is that you're capable of, and today we are having a practical lesson. So, everyone, and she turns to the class, and she says, continue your studies, but Kana, Cordell, Irolahne, you three will accompany me out to the courtyard. And
oh,
she begins to head toward the door. Come along.
okay. Makes her a little nervous, but she follows
Okay.
as the last one to leave the room.
Alrighty. As you are brought outside, this is the wrong song. One moment.
While you get that sorted, pause for a second. I need to go see what my mom needs.
Go ahead.
Yeah, thank you.
As you head outside, following Cordell, Kana, and Emila out onto the main yard, where it seems as though practical exercises are performed every day, and you remember hearing some. Not when you very first arrived late at night, but when you arrived properly.
Right.
You remember hearing training occurring. Where is your token? There it is. And as you, Cordell, and Kana stand there, all of you look a little nervous, as all of you are fairly new students, and maybe have not seen Amila doing exactly what she's about to do. She says, right. So, first things first. And as she snaps her fingers, a large wooden dummy spider appears on the courtyard ground, just with a on right in front of all of you. And she says, I would like each of you to take a go at this dummy. I want to see how it is when you go on the offense. And Cordell looks at it and nods and says, oh, all right, I'll see what I can do. He thinks for a moment. And you see as he opens his hand, he, with his other hand, does a wide sweeping motion, and a large stone suddenly unearths itself from the earth next to you and is hurtled toward the spider as he casts Catapult. I'm going to roll a dex save for the dummy spider, which suddenly, as a spell is targeting it, it seems to dart and skitter to the side. But it fails, and the large stone slams into the body of the wooden spider, knocking one of the legs off with a splintering, crackling as the leg spins off into the distance. And Amila says, "Good start. Very well done. All right, Kana, let's see what you favor." And Kana looks at her, and then looks at the large spider and says, "All right, okay, I got this." And she just kind of takes this large step forward and shoves both of her hands toward the spider, and a large gust of wind whoosh, up against the spider, and it doesn't really move the spider. It doesn't seem to do any damage to the spider. The spider does look like it has a hard time moving, as suddenly its skittering is slowed as it tries to push against the wind. And Amila says, "Well, that would be useful if you had an ally to take advantage, but on your own, that is not going to stop a spider from attacking you." And almost to illustrate the point, the spider lurches toward Kana with the wooden mandibles, like, clacking forward, and Kana, like, leaps back with a dodge. The spider does not actually hit her, but Kana says, I get the point, as she seems to try and recover her dignity. And then Emma looks to you and says, "Irolahne, don't hold back."
First things first, would last night's rest be considered a long rest, even though she woke up pretty early?
Yes.
Okay, yeah, I forgot I am a little bit behind on that. Okay. She's gonna do what she did yesterday that she knows got rid of the spider before, which she hopes works. She's going to cast Arms of Hadar, and she's gonna thrust her hands up as if, they're coming up out of the ground, and she's gonna grab the spider, I believe, if she can. Is that a strength check? It is.
I believe it's a saving throw by the spider.
Saving throw. So, it would be a DC 14.
The spider rolled an 11, so it failed.
Okay, so she is... Oh, right, I cast it already. I think? No. So she's going to cast that, and it is going to grab the spider and once again, like, rip and tear and pull into the ground.
Very similar semblance as to what happened with the real spider. Go ahead and roll damage for me. So click damage in the chat log.
Yep. That's a 4.
Okay. As the arms of Hadar reach up and grasp onto the legs of the spider, it is pulled down and crushed by the strength of the arms of Hadar. Now, this wooden spider is not a biological entity at all, so there's no cracking of bone or carapace, and there's no blood, but the wooden limbs that support the wooden body of the spider do splinter and flex, and as the wooden spider struggles to keep its feet, Amila says, "That is an excellent choice. Such a creature, while they are very dexterous and nimble, is not quite as strong as perhaps another monster of similar ability, so well thought." And as the spider is crushed until suddenly it is rendered inert, Amila says, "Perfect. Now," and as she kind of waves her hand, the spider is dismissed, and the arms of Hadar suddenly are grasping onto nothing as they recede back into wherever it is that they come from.
I have no idea, dude. I did that yesterday. That's literally the best I can do to reenact that.
It was well done.
Less gross today.
Agreed. Now, I have with me an amulet I have a few of them. But in this case, it's going to be very valuable, as I am going to hurl an attack at each of you. It might hurt, it might not. What I know for certain is that it will hit you unless you use a magical defense to protect yourself. And as she's saying that, she's like swirling her hands over each other. And she says, "Ready yourselves. The clerics are on standby," she says, almost with a hint of humor. And then she claps her hands together and a magical dart out toward Kana. And Kana says, "Oh!" and she raises up her hands, and you see a wind wall suddenly appears in front of her, and the magical dart is swallowed by the wind wall. And Kana says, "Oh, thank you. Oh, you could have warned me." And Amila says, "Well, that's not the point of the exercise. You must defend yourself." And then she looks at Cordell, and again she claps, only a magical dart comes hurtling toward you.
She's gonna cast shield. Like,
what does your shield look like?
It's going to be a black void that has stars in it. That just only guards where she's being hit. So in this case, wherever the dart is about to land, it's going to be a swath of black with stars. Did you hear that?
Yes, I did. So the dart, as it is hurtling towards you, you raise your hands and this small swatch of void appears. And instead of bouncing off of it, it's almost as if the dart is swallowed by the void and is of no danger to you and anyone else. And Amila looks at you and blinks, and she says, "Oh, well, I've never seen one quite like that before, but that is certainly effective." And while she's talking, as if that's to disguise it, another dart comes hurtling toward Cordell, who did not notice. And it slams him in the side of the chest, and he like stumbles back and says, "Oh, ow!" Ugh. And she looks to him and says, "Pay attention. Some things are just distractions." You spend the rest of the morning and into the afternoon practicing the spells that are in your spell list. You are given this strange drink that doesn't taste particularly good, but every time you drink it, you feel it recovers some energy. Just enough to keep casting spells during this practice session. Once you have practiced all of your spells, you feel exhausted.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
You certainly feel exhausted, as do Kana and Cordell. And at the end of it, when you have finally finished practicing all your spells and you feel absolutely wrung dry, Amila looks to the three of you and she says, "All of you have done very well. You all show great promise." And Kana says, "I don't mean to put too point a finger on it, but why us three?" And Amila looks to Kana and she says, "You're my newest students, and you show real potential. So, I'd like to see what it is that you're made of. Each of you are very different flavors of magic. Wherever it comes from, each of you are unique in your own right." And she looks to you and she says, "How are you feeling?"
I'm very tired. That was a lot of work. I wasn't expecting to be this out of it so soon.
"That is good. I'm about to show you another trick. One that you won't be able to use for a while, at least not on the regular, but as we sit here and meditate, you can begin to understand it." And she instructs all of you to sit down.
Irolahne just flops. She's tired.
Okay. Hold on a second here. All right. One moment here. making sure that I'm right about this. Okay. As you spend your energy, when the going gets tough, you're going to have to learn how to dig deeper. There are going to be moments in your life where stretching yourself beyond the standard means is going to mean life or death. Now, as you get better, you will understand how to do this without the strange expenditure and the long meditation. Right now, however, we are going to learn how to reach into your innermost wellspring and draw more energy than you normally could. I want you to breathe in and think upon that feeling. When you cast a spell, when you reach into the weave, when you pull it into yourself, that feeling is what is important here. Not the act of casting the magic itself, but what it feels like. Focus on it. And I'd like you to roll me a charisma plus proficiency check.
Which one is proficiency?
Your proficiency bonus right now is just +2. So if you
Okay.
rolled a charisma, and then we can just add 2 to it.
Ability check, right?
Yeah.
Oh, that is a
22.
Yeah.
Yeah, you understand exactly what she's referring to. It's almost as if as you close your eyes and you focus on it, it's the backdrop of your inner eye, the constant mess of stars and nebulae that are always just out of your mind's eye, but you focus on them now. You focus on the outside, where that energy comes from. And she says, I want you to reach out toward that well, the magic that you reach for. Reach out for it again, and this time, instead of spending it, ask it to suffuse you. Ask it to come to you and stay within.
She might physically reach out, but she is definitely going to try that.
Okay. Now I need you to roll me a spell casting check. So in this case, it's just basically rolling a spell attack.
Okay, how do I do that? Just pick a spell, any spell?
Yeah, pick like Firebolt or something like that.
Okay.
And roll an attack
Alright.
with it.
Normal.
12.
Well,
You reach out, and you feel the magic well within you. And while you are exhausted, you are so tired, you are out of spell slots, you fill one. You feel one spell slot return to you.
She's gonna immediately open her eyes, and she's like, "Whoa, is there anything different?"
No?
She just feels maybe a little less tired.
Yeah. You feel a little bit more energy has returned to you. It's a palpable feeling, almost tangible. And it feels as though your hands are tingling, as if they're maybe even just a little bit itchy, as that magic has returned to you. You see that Kana and Cordell, their eyes are still shut, and they're still concentrating. You, having been successful, Amila looks over to you and she says, "You've done it. Well done."
Thank you. What exactly, like, is there a name for that? Is there a word for that?
Meta magic.
What's that?
We, beings that are born with magic in our blood, our influence on magic is more of a conversation. A wizard or a bard or a cleric or any other individual who influences the weave, they bend the weave to their will. Through mechanics, through technique, or through the powers of others. But us, the power comes from within, and so the trade-off, the conversation, the bargain we make with magic. We offer it our time and our attention, and in return, it provides us with power and energy. It is a give and take.
That's actually really amazing. How often can one do this?
Well, until you are more attuned and understanding of the weave and your particular relationship with it, I would not recommend trying this unless it is life or death. But as you grow stronger, you will find it becomes second nature.
Okay.
Mechanically, when you reach level 2, you'll be able to do this twice a day.
That's good to know.
This is the sorcery point system for sorcerers, explained in lore.
I like that. Good job.
Thank you. She says, us as sorcerers have some advantages over other casters. And while your magic and the spells that you can cast are innate to you, they are part of who you are, and you can't really change them. You can try to learn more through great effort and training, but it is difficult. That is our hindrance as sorcerers. We don't truly get to choose the magic we have access to. We only do our best to understand it, to alter it as sees fit, and to use it to our best ability.
Then why are wizards choice wizards so jealous of us?
Because what we get is given to us by nature in our origin, whereas a wizard must study for years to understand the basic elements to alter the weave. Where they struggle to understand the hand emotions that would alter energy around them, we just know how to do.
Yeah, that tracks. That makes sense. But they can learn whatever. We can't. We have a choice already made for us.
That is why we call Magos a fickle meister. If you're familiar, Magos, the god of magic, is said to have set the rules for us as sorcerers millennia ago, and no one understands exactly why or how. Teachings thought to have been spread by him says that magic is a living being, and that it plays favorites, as it were. Us sorcerers are thought to be the spoiled children of magic. But I think it's more that we must prove ourselves to Magos in order to earn more. And whether or not you believe in the gods or you trust them doesn't really matter. What does matter is that magic is a very real being. And as we ask it to aid us, it asks us for our time and our energy.
I guess that's a fair exchange. I mean, everything comes with an exchange.
So far, it is until you find a loophole, which is where you start breaking the rules of magic. And, well, we don't do that, as the cost is always dear.
What do you mean, a loophole? I don't understand.
Well, have you read upon the War of the Dead?
No, not outside from what you've told me.
Well, as a vague summary, the necromancers on the bad side of the War of the Dead were thought to have found a loophole. They found a wellspring of magic upon which they could draw. But it was unchecked, and at the end of the War of the Dead, when the gods returned, all the magic that they drew upon was paid back in kind by the gods as they returned, which summarily ended the war, as every necromancer who drew upon it was obliterated.
Oh. Yeah, I wouldn't want to mess with that. That's a little bit much for me.
That's why we follow the rules.
They're there for a reason.
They are mostly unspoken, but for the most part, well, it's not easy to break the rules, so I'm not really worried about it. But for the most part, don't take what you can't pay back.
Nods. What are the other two doing?
It looks as though they've been successful and they were just listening.
Okay.
Because the teacher was, giving a lecture.
As they do.
Yes. It is now in the afternoon as finally you've finished your meditation, and you do have one spell slot that you've asked for and gotten back. Though you are still tired. However, as you have finished this lesson, Amila stands and she says, "Well, that was a successful day of class. Why don't the three of you dismiss? You have the rest of the day for yourselves, and I'll see you tomorrow."
Thank you, Amila. As the other two leave, she's going to ask for Amila's attention for one moment.
Yes, what is it?
You seem to know a bit about the gods, right?
A bit.
Or,
I'm no expert, but I've studied.
do you know much about Nier?
The god of storms.
Is that, yeah, that one.
I know some. He's chaotic, which is not really the sort of god I put much attention toward, but I do know some things. What are you hoping to learn?
What does he usually ask for? I'm sorry, did he? Yeah. What does he usually ask for from his followers?
To follow their heart. To do what makes them feel free. He cares about freedom of will, of making the choices that are impulsive, but will make one happy.
Even if that means taking the freedom away from others?
Unfortunately, people have many demons within them. And unfortunately, if that is the case, if enslaving another is what makes someone happy, that is, in a perverted way, a way of following Nia's order.
She ponders that for a moment. And then she's gonna rummage through her pack. I also have something I want you to look at. I found it. Maybe you might know more about it. She's gonna pull that coin out that she got the other morning.
Ah, okay. You pull out the coin that shows the symbol of the cord wrapped around the hand. Would you offer it to her?
Mm-hmm.
She looks at it, and it's an iron coin. She looks at it in her fingers, holds it up to the light. Huh. Well, it bears the symbol of Tysus, but I've never seen anything quite like this.
Who's that?
He's the god of shepherding souls to the afterlife.
What? What?
He's one of the gods of death. When we perish, it is thought that he is who shepherds us off to be judged by Croesus.
Shivers at that.
Have you ever heard, "All who are lost, I will find you"?
No.
That's his phrase. None shall be lost for long in the eyes of Tysus.
Is he particularly evil or good? Or is he just neutral?
He's as benevolent as they come. It does not matter how evil a soul is. They will not remain lost with Tysus looking for them.
Well, yeah, it just appeared, I guess. I don't know where I found it. I just found it.
Well, the gods act in fickle ways. Do you feel lost?
She thinks on that for a moment. Yeah, but I mean, I'd like to think I'm still alive.
Lost does not mean dead.
I mean, yeah. Yeah. I don't quite feel like I know where I belong.
Well, perhaps take this coin. When you have the time, stop by a shrine of Tysus and see if you can have A conversation.
Where would I find one?
I believe there's a Temple of Tysus on the outskirts of town in the Cathedral District. If not there, you can always check the cleric classroom. Treat has many shrines to many gods, and I doubt Tysus would be one he'd neglect.
Okay. Well, she'll take the coin back and put it away. Thank you for the lesson, Irolahne.
You're welcome, and thank you for paying rapt attention. You've proven to be a very promising student.
I still have quite a lot to learn, and I'd like to learn all of it.
I mean, I'm not going to argue with you. We all have plenty to learn.
Do we ever stop learning?
No. You only stop learning once you're dead. And then your soul learns more and more, so that's not even a fair saying.
Oh, well. Then it is as it is. I better get going now. I'm really tired.
That's fair. Recover. I look forward to seeing you tomorrow.
She bows her head and she'll head on. Off
Okay.
where...
As class has been dismissed, Amila, Cordell, Kana are no longer in sight. What do you do? The evening and afternoon is yours. It's about 4 in the afternoon.
How far is that Temple of Tysus?
So, you know the chapel district, the cathedral district, as she said, it's just off the main street in Ferrum. So if we pull up the map here, these are the chapels, the cathedral district. You see what I've pinged?
Mm-hmm.
It's not far. It's maybe a 5-minute walk.
Yeah, she'd make her way that way. She doesn't... Like, she wants to see the cleric classroom, but she also doesn't... She wants to just get in, and if she knows the right building, it's gonna go to that. She doesn't know quite what to expect in the classroom.
That's fair. Okay, hold on. It is close enough that you do not risk a random encounter. For better or worse.
For better or worse, yeah.
The Temple of Tysus is a solemn one. It's a simple building. It looks like it's made of dark gray slate. It is steepled with a high roof, and you see that there are 2 large chimneys on the back. But the weather is not particularly cold at the moment, so there are no fires lit within, at least no warming fires. You see inside the structure there are no pews, but there are... Excuse my sister, please. There are various what look like offering tables where there are large bowls, and behind them are these stone placards which it looks like there are paintings of lost ones that have been added to them, and you see people paying respects to them. There's about 15 of them in this structure. There's quite a few. 7 on each side and then 1 in the middle at the end of the temple. As you enter, a tall, balding but solemn-faced human man approaches you, and he says, "Good day. How may we help you here at the temple?"
Good evening. I'm not quite sure how to do this, but I'm here to treat with Tysus.
You're here to pray and to attempt to commune. This is... Yes. Follow me. And he leads you toward the back of the temple, where behind the final offering bowl and respects platform, basically, there is a small holy symbol where it looks like emerging from the stone floor, there is an arm with a hand holding up the symbol that you recognize straight off the coin. It's very simple, and it's about as tall as you are. The fingers at your head height. And he says, "Should Tysus be listening, say what it is you wish to say, and you may hear a response. If not, fear not, for he will hear you. He just may not be able to reply."
Okay. Um,
And he kind of bows and he leaves you to your privacy.
she's just gonna think for a moment. Um, but she's gonna close her eyes and she's going to pray to Tysus. And she's basically going to say, I don't know. I, I don't know why you think I'm lost. I don't, I don't know who I am. I guess that might be a start. But why did you come to me in my dream? What do you need of me?
Go ahead and roll me. So the nature, the intent behind your question is matters here.
Mm-hmm.
Is this? Are you trying to persuade an answer out of the god, or are you trying to bequeath a god to listen to you?
Persuade an answer.
Roll me a charisma plus proficiency check.
Okay. Okay. 20,
22.
22 again.
Okay.
Mm.
You feel as though everything around you vanishes, as if it was never there in the first place. You feel not uncomfortable. The air stills, and the temperature seems to almost warm immediately around you, and you feel the same feeling that you felt in the dream, where everything around you is so far away, but you could see it all. You still see the temple shrine in front of you, but it doesn't feel like you were where you were a moment ago. And you hear, almost directly in response to you, I did not come to you. You came to me.
She's gonna look around and try and find the voice, the source of the voice.
You see the temple around you.
Oh, I don't know what you mean. I didn't go anywhere. I was dreaming.
Then you are lost.
Lost how?
You don't know who you are. You don't know where you are from. But in your dreams you return to where once you came.
I don't know where that is. So, since I am lost, can you help me? Can you help me find where I'm supposed to be?
No. Some
Fine.
answers one must find for themselves. If I were to show you, you would not believe me. You need to find for yourself the truth.
What is the coin you gave me for?
I did not give you a coin. You took
Where
it.
did it come? What? I didn't take anything. I. She's dumbfounded.
Some answers cannot come from someone else, Irolahne. Look within. And the feeling slowly but surely goes away. And you realize you are back fully within the temple.
She's looking a little frustrated. She's like, that didn't answer anything. um, where's Is he a priest? Where is he?
The head cleric that introduced you,
Alright.
he is not next to you. You see he's kind of standing respectfully off at a distance, waiting for someone to require his help.
She's going to present him the coin. What is this for?
He looks down at it. This is an offering token. Do you have a lost one or a loved one that you wish to pay respect for?
I don't know. I I just I haven't the right amount of answers yet.
Well,
What?
let me explain the mythology behind these tokens.
Okay.
When you have a lost or loved one, you bring one of these tokens here. You place it in the offering bowl, and the loved one collects the token as a sign of returning home.
What if you don't have a loved one and you are the lost one?
I've never considered that question before. In that case, you are likely dead. You are a spirit being shepherded by our Lord Tysus. If you don't have a loved one to place a token for you within an offering bowl, well, you would not have a token.
Okay. Is there anything I have to say specifically, or
In what respect?
well, just by putting the token in the bowl, does it
All
just
that, all that matters are the ties that bind you to those you love. Those that love you.
She nods. Thank you. I guess that's my first plan of action. She's gonna walk over to one of the bowls and kneel down if they're at ground level.
Mm-hmm. They're pretty
Um,
low, yeah.
okay. And she's gonna. I don't know who you are, or if you're even out there, but I'm hoping that you find me, because I don't know how I'm going to find myself. And she places the token in the bowl with a little clink.
You watch as the token sits in the center of the bowl, and then it slowly seems to evaporate into sparkling silver mist.
That amazes her. Okay, I hope that was the right thing to do. But I guess I better be heading back. And she'll linger for a moment, see if anything else happens in that bowl.
No,
But then
nothing does.
she'll head back to the academy.
Okay. You head back to the academy. It is a short walk, as it was before, and as you return to the academy, let me pull up. What do you do?
Uh she's gonna remember back to the morning, and she's gonna be like, I need to talk to Tabernac. So she's going to go to him.
All right, you go to talk to Tabernac. It's simple enough. You know the way to Tabernac's classroom. As you enter, you see Hallowell and Callie at their tables, studying as usual. You see that Callie is actually working on a wand, it looks like. And as you enter, Hallowell looks up to you and says, "Oh, welcome back. It's a pleasure to see you again."
Thank you. You seem to be in a better mood than usual.
I take affront to that.
I'm sorry.
It's fine. How can I help You don't need my help, do you?
Uh, Not at the moment, but if I should, I think you'll be the first I come to.
Great, okay. And he returns to his books. You see Callie just rolling her eyes at the table, and she just waves at you.
She waves back, but she's gonna head down to Tabernacle as quick as possible.
Okay, hold on. I gotta try and get. There we go. I had to get the classroom to show up on cam. There we go. You head down the balcony toward Tabernacle, who's on his stage in dragon form. And as you are descending, he looks up at you and he says, "Hello again.
Hello.
I expect you've had a pleasant few days."
Yeah, actually. Sorry I don't come bearing gifts this time, but I do have a little bit of information. I know you like that.
I most certainly do. What do you have for me?
Well, first she's going to tell him all about her day prior and how her classroom studies went and getting the diamond and the spider, especially the spider. Um, and then she's going to move on to this morning. Um, so you're right. I mean, as you always are. Uh, I tried out my breath weapon. She tries to say that really quietly. Um,
And how did that go?
I don't quite know what to call it. It wasn't quite fire. It wasn't electricity. It was
Well,
weird.
by our studies of the deep dragons, a purple dragon such as yourself, your breath weapon is likely a bewitching, corrupting energy by which you can manipulate the minds of mortals.
What does it look like? Do you know?
And you see he reaches back with a mage hand, plucks a book, and as he sets it down on the stage, he's shifting through it and he says, "It should appear as almost a gas cloud of darkness, through which your improved eyes will see your foes clearly." And as he pulls up a page, he shows you a deep drake, a purple dragon, that is breathing a plume of what looks like thick, roiling, almost oily black energy.
Uh, she's gonna take that in for a moment, and she's gonna shake her head. No, it didn't look like that.
You're sure?
Positive, it was silvery in color, and it sparkled, and it took the bark off of a tree and absolutely destroyed this bush I was aiming at. But
Tabernacle blinks and he says, "Describe it to me as best you can." And he begins like shuffling through the book.
she's she's thinking. She's like, it was like a cloud of glass, like shards of glass, maybe diamonds. Um, it, it was hot. It was really hot. But
Hold on, I'm rolling a Arcana for Tabernacle.
okay.
Okay.
And
He's shuffling and shuffling and shuffling. Go on, please.
and I felt like I had a choice to make. It was weird. It's like I could either attack the bush or ask it to go away. Or make it go away. I don't quite know. I didn't try. I tried to attack it. You can't ask a bush to leave.
I believe we may have made an error in judgment, he says as he is skimming through the book. And he looks at you and he says, "Do you mind if I cast a spell on you?"
Go ahead. I've got nothing to hide. She tilts her head a little confused.
Tabernacle seems to almost like bite the talon of his claw, and then he reaches out to you and he casts Identify. You recognize the spell. You feel very much appraised. And Tabernac puts his claw down and looks at you, and he just says,
He's blinking.
"Lest it not be said that I do not ever make mistakes. I was wrong about you. You are no purple, deep dragon." Which really explains quite a lot, I think. Do you wish to know what you really are?
Yes, absolutely. I mean, she's gonna go on about Tysus and how she got a visit from him, but he said it wasn't a visit, and then she's gonna ramble. Unless we
Well,
stop her.
he doesn't stop you, but he's like listening and then shuffling through the book all the way back towards the beginning. And then he turns the book around and shows you, and he says, "You are an astral dragon."
Her eyes widen, and she peers at the book. What is... I've never...
Exceedingly rare is what it means. Rarer even more so than our friends the deep drakes. Much less evil, which is good by nature. But it does explain the strange amnesia you suffer. However, that begins a new concern. As anything that would force an astral dragon to flee the astral sea, which is your native plane, by the way, and he points to the note on the book, saying that astral dragons are very much native to the astral sea. He says, "Something or someone forced you to leave. And you, through fear, self-preservation, heroism, what have you, escaped the astral sea to here, which unfortunately wiped your memory."
She is struck silent. Because now she has so many questions. What's the astral plane? How do I get back there? What could have done that?
Well, the simple answer is right now, you don't. You don't know what it was that you are running from. It could be, gods forbid, it might be an astral dreadnought, or a star beast, or, well, I won't list you with lists of horrors that can be found in the astral sea. I will simply do this. And he reaches over, and a mage hand pulls this apparatus. It's covered with a small canvas as it slides over. It seems as though it's on wheels. It rolls over next to the two of you, and the canvas is removed. And you see that there are various lenses made of different solid crystals, and it's almost like a globe made of these various lenses in the array. And as it is near you, Tabernac begins to manipulate it with the mage hand until a particular lens is standing up, perpendicular to the ground. It is a black lens, it seems, as if the shade from a sunglass is placed on this apparatus. And he says, "You are welcome to look through and see what it is your home looks like."
She's gonna. Like, immediately.
Roll me an intelligence saving throw. He didn't get a chance to warn you yet.
Okay.
You immediately do so.
That's an 8 for 10.
There is no perception as to what you saw. You are immediately feeble-minded.
Oh!
You look through the lens and you see a blast of color just scoring into your retinas, and you just, and nothing makes sense. You have no perception as to what Tabernac is saying. You don't know what is happening in the room. You just find yourself sitting on your butt, confused and unable to really comprehend a real thought as your intelligence is reduced to 1.
God damn it.
As that happens, you see Tabernac. You recognize him as a friend. There is a moment of panic, uh, and there is some swift movements. Then you feel something touch you, and the feeble mind is gone. You suddenly are back into your awareness, and you remember just brilliant colors. And Tabernac says, "I should have known you would do it immediately. I didn't think you would quite jump the gun. I needed to warn you that you needed to brace yourself, for it would be a vast input of information. Are you all right? Before anything
I'm,
else."
I don't know what's going on anymore. That was. Oh my God.
All right, take a moment. And here, a mage hand appears in front of you, holding what looks like an orange, but it's slightly off color. It's like a deeper red than an orange is. He says, "Eat this fruit; it will help." Oh gods, I apologize, Irolahne. I was a little bit too slow. I should have known you'd be eager to see what it was that you were missing. Do you eat
She
the
is.
fruit?
She is gonna fucking stuff her face with this fruit. Like, if it's gonna help, it's gonna help.
It is sweet and savory. It kind of tastes a bit like the mix between a pear and an orange. It
Mm.
tastes pretty good. Um, it goes down very well, and as it does, you feel clarity. The harsh edges of the after effects of the feeble mind are going away, and Tavernac is concerned, looking over at you, and he says, "Look, I do think it would be a good idea for you to look again, but maybe after you have mentally prepared yourself for what you might see."
Okay. I think she's probably just a teeny bit still dizzy.
Yeah,
Uh,
I'm sure.
Reeling from going from one stage of intelligence to another.
Yeah.
I I think I'm ready to try again.
All right.
I
Now, he puts his hand over the lens and he says, "Deep breath. Prepare yourself. Forget everything you already know, your preconceptions, and only once you feel your mind is truly clear, then look."
she's gonna she's gonna do her breathing techniques, and she's gonna meditate for a minute and try to really clear her mind of all the questions and all the thoughts, the confusion that she has whirling around inside her head. And when she finally feels ready, she's going to lean in and look.
Okay. Roll me an intelligence save at advantage. DC is reduced, but it's still there. A 12.
Oof.
Okay.
Okay.
With the mental preparations and the aid of Tabernac, you are not immediately blasted into oblivion. It is still a massive influx of information. But instead of it being like just an overwhelming deluge of information, it is more like taking a massive drink. And the only way to keep it going is to just keep taking it in until it is gone. As you look through the lens, your whole perception is swallowed, and you see the same void. You see the astral sea, a beautiful, unending blackness, dappled with color and swirling nebulae. Within it, thousands, millions of things adrift, off in the distance, above, below, behind you, in front of you. Some of them minuscule, some of them the size of continents. And as you are looking around, you are aware of what you are looking at is the astral sea. Stars jet across the distance with trails of streaking blue and white. Entire cities lost to time, float, frozen, lost here forever. This is the astral sea, and now that you know it's your home plane, that strange feeling that you haven't been able to place this entire time, you realize is nostalgia.
Oh. She's she's looking around for, well, in this she's looking around for other dragons now.
Roll me investigation.
Oh, it was almost a natural 20.
What you do see with a 10, what you thought at first glance was horizon, you realize there is no horizon in the astral sea. And this line, you suddenly realize, is wavering. And it suddenly turns upward. You realize that the end of it is the shape of a serpent. A massive serpent so big as to be the horizon to your peripheral.
What is that? Can you see that?
You ask that of Tabernac?
Mm-hmm.
He says, "No, I'm just looking at you here as you're looking through the lens. What do you see?"
It looks like a snake. It's huge. She's trying to make out more of it.
It's too far away. You can tell it is the serpent-like form, but it is so big, it crosses your perception from one side to the other.
I can't make it out definitively, but it's too far.
Well, I'm not sure, honestly. I can't tell from that description, I'm afraid.
If she can't make it out, she's gonna maybe look for other signs of life, but
there's lots of motion. Now that you know what you're looking into, you can see little hints of darting like gnats or flies in the distance that are possibly enormous, but from this perspective they're too far away to be anything more than specks glinting off the sun's lights. You do see, in one direction as you look, the unending dance between Pyrrhus and Tyrrhus. The twin suns that constantly orbit each other, that are here in the astral sea, just as they are in the prime material, except they are closer, bigger, more perceivable. You remember stories of daring dragons? Other folk trying to dance with them.
She doesn't know quite what to do. She's just kind of staring at them right now. But she's gonna reluctantly pull back.
As you pull away from the lens, your perceptions return to Tabernac's library. And he's looking down at you and he says, "Well, what did you see?"
A lot. Way more than I thought I would. It's amazing. I really come from there?
You really do. And I'm glad we have discovered your source, really. Because if we had thought that you were actually a deep dragon, which I was truly convinced of, I would have showed you the Underdark, which would have been much less impressive.
But now what?
Well,
if I can't go back?
Yet. Emphasis on yet. We must learn either who you are, that you needed to flee, what it was that was chasing you, or we need to help you grow strong enough that it doesn't matter.
Well, I mean, I know I'm not very strong now, but what could possibly be so scary there? I mean, I didn't, aside from that, what I'm assuming was a giant serpent, what else could possibly be scary there? I mean, it was just a bunch of floating stuff.
Well, there, if it was what I think you're referring to, The solar serpent is an impossibly large creature. If that is what it was, then if you had got on its bad side, that would be I would run from the solar serpent. Let's be fair. But I doubt you could have crossed it. It doesn't care about the efforts of mortals. It has much better things to do. There are lists of creatures native to the Astral Sea, which are the creations of the imaginations of the gods. The sort of things that you don't want to trifle with. If you crossed one of them, well, that would be cause to flee.
Can't imagine what I would have done. I mean...
You don't know who you were.
Point taken.
And while I don't really know very much about you, I somehow get the idea that mischief might not be beyond your means.
I mean, I don't feel very mischievous. I mean, but I'm a recovering amnesiac.
You are also young. And the thing about young dragons is they get bored. I know because I used to be one.
How long ago was that?
About 700 years.
You surely cannot be that old.
I know I look good for my age, don't I?
I guess... She sighs. I mean, I feel happy that I know now, but I'm at a loss.
Well, I have some good news for you. Your specific situation... And he kind of glances up at the balcony. And he raises a hand, and suddenly, if you look behind you, the balcony seems fuzzy. And the conversation between Halliwell and Callie that would occasionally creep up suddenly sounds extremely muffled, as if they are underwater. Tabernac says, "The Grand Draconis Concordat, the hidden government of draconic influence here in Amaranth, are aware of your presence here at the Merigard Academy."
Is that a bad thing?
No. It's a good thing. It means that once you finish training and perhaps have recovered some of your memories, after you've been on this world for maybe 50 years, maybe 100, there will be efforts to figure out what happened to you, why you are here, and also how it is we can return you home. As an astral dragon, you technically fall underneath our jurisdiction as a metallic, which is good, because it means that we can help you.
You can't help chromatics?
We can try. It depends. It's very case-by-case basis, because for the most part, chromatics that are raised by chromatic families are greedy, murderous, nefarious, and tend to enslave or corrupt mortals to their bidding. And the thing is that while we dragons are very powerful, we are vastly outnumbered by mortals.
And would she have been taught about gem dragons? Are there gem dragons in Amaranth?
Yeah, that you've been learned about them. They are almost exclusively on the plane of magic.
Okay.
They do sometimes appear in Amaranth, but it's usually they're visiting for a purpose.
Okay. Well, I guess I have some learning and growing to do. Which actually, Tabernac, would it be too much trouble for you to teach me how to fly?
No, not at all. However, I will ask that you wait until my little demi-plane here returns to Terracona, as that will be much less prying eyes. And I have my next scheduled meeting with the Draconis Magnate in a week. So, if you return in a week, I will teach you to fly.
You can count it an appointment.
Fair enough. I will discuss with your instructor to say you are handling Marigod business with me in Terracona, and she will likely accept that, because what is she going to do? Argue with the dragon?
Well, I know I would have a hard time arguing with you, but it seems that arguing with a dragon doesn't always lead to positive results, as I am here.
Battery low.
Yes. About that, do you remember anything about maybe other dragons or anything else from the astral? Anything at all?
Nothing outside
Charging
of my
battery.
personal interest, which she points to the viol that is still placed neatly in her pack. I don't know anything about, I haven't heard anything. I hope that my prayer to Tysus, or rather the coin that I took, as he said, heard. Perhaps I'll learn more, but as of right now, no, I don't remember anything. I sometimes wonder if I even have parents.
Well, as you recover, your memories maybe return. I would like, if perhaps every evening or every other evening or so, you return and look through the Oraculum and see what else you can find within the astral. Maybe that will spark a memory.
As long as I have you to make sure I don't die. That was awful.
You'll be fine. I'll be here. Even if I'm not here, you'll just feel dumb for a couple hours until I return.
I already feel dumb enough.
Exceptionally stupid. You know what I mean.
Okay. Well, yes, I do. I just felt it. That was awful. That was absolutely awful.
Yes, let's avoid that in the future. In the meantime, continue your studies. Keep growing and learn the secrets behind the sorcery you are capable of. I know that Amila is an effective teacher, and she will teach you how to use the magic that you are imbued with. However, if you are an astral dragon, it's likely not the same as draconic sorcery. So, you will have to discover the source of magic that you are capable of, as opposed to, say, a dragonborn or any other draconic sorcerer.
Do you know what I should expect? Potentially?
The thing about astral dragons is I don't know much about them. They're rare. Exceedingly so. And for the most part, they do their best to avoid, well, the prime material, which is why your being here is so unusual. The answers we've received in the past are almost exclusively by Benelicillion, a famous wizard and magician who managed to breach the barrier between Amaranth and Worldridge, another world from thousands of years ago.
Is this a person I can talk to?
Oh no, he's been dead for 2,000 years.
Oh. Okay, long gone.
I never got to speak with him. I was born long after he died. The only information I have is what I've learned from retrieved manuscripts. One of them, a magical spell tome, actually, retrieved by the Wanderers, the old heroes of age.
So there's not even any books?
There's a few, but they're not in my possession. I wish they were. One of them is within the everlasting vault that Irolahne guards.
Who's that?
The Lord of Terracona, Irolahne the Lasting. The first great worm of our time, the Gold Dragon. You could attempt, when you're perhaps a reputable mercenary to attempt a deal to maybe see one of them, but I would not attempt it, as you are a student at the Marigard with a tuition of 100 gold on your name.
Hardly even that.
You know what I mean.
Yeah. I mean, I get to work for it. But I guess until then, I'm really tired. Amilla put us through the ringer today.
A good sign. Go get something to eat. Go get some rest.
Thank you, Tabernac. I'll be back in a week.
Well, I hope before then you have to look through the oraculum.
Perhaps. If I don't get so distracted, I know that... I don't know, I worry Amilla's studies are going to make me tired all the time. Is it always like this?
I don't know. I'm not a student of Amilla. Every instructor comes up with their own curriculum.
Okay. Well, she'll start heading out then.
Okay. As you head out... Hold on. I almost had a tragedy.
Ugh.
Okay. As you head out, do you stop by the Great Hall for dinner, or do you just go straight to your room?
No, she stops by for food.
Okay. As you head by the mess hall and you get yourself something to eat, let me roll to see how they do. Wow. You replace your temporary hit points with 8. Dinner is apparently feckin' delicious. It is a very rich and hearty stew served over rice with very thick slabs of warm, freshly baked bread. And as you get dinner... Hold on a minute. And as you go and get dinner, I need you to roll me a d10.
A d10, okay. A 6? A 9.
It's a 9. No sooner than after you sit down with your food, there is the of the chair next to you, and sitting down next to you is the towering armored figure of Stoic the Paladin, and he says,
Hello again.
Hello again. I was hoping to see you soon. You're not trying to hide from me, are you?
She looks a little startled as she has just taken a bite of freshly baked bread, and she swallows it. No. Oh, I've just been busy. How could I possibly hide from you? I swear you can see everything from up there.
Ah, you're not wrong. I certainly do have a good eye. Spotted you from across the mess hall.
I'd wager I'm hard to miss.
You're not wrong. You certainly do stand out amongst the crowd, which is why you maybe have caught my attention. Holy gods, he says as he looks at you and he says, you look like you've been through the ringer. Did you have a long day?
I did. I got to fight a wooden spider from Amilla and cast a lot of spells, and then I got to talk to Tabernac, and that was fun. Oh, and I got to be stupid for like 5 minutes.
Some people get that all day.
Suppose I can consider myself lucky that it is not all day.
Agreed. And as he's talking to you, across the table, the chair is pulled out, and down sits. Let me see. Let me see who appears. A white-skinned tiefling with horns that have been cut off. She's wearing thick leather armor. She sits down and still looks over, and he says, "Ah, Lilith, it's good to you join us." And Lilith looks at you and says, "Hey, you knew?"
Yeah, I very new. Just joined the other day, or a couple weeks ago. God.
I don't know you. I think I would know you if I saw you. And Stoic says, Lilith, this is Irolahne, if I remember from the other day. Irolahne, this is Lilith, my fighter friend.
Nice to meet you. As he got it right, my name is Irolahne.
Yeah, it's a real pleasure, she says, and she there's the sound of a match being struck, and she lights a smoke as she sits across from you. And Stoic says, "Don't you know that will kill you one day?" And she says, "Then it better hurry up." That's him old, all right.
Irolahne looks a little confused as to what she is doing, but she gets the vibe. She gets an intimidating vibe from Lilith.
Yeah, Lilith is not a social butterfly, and she kind of has very much this intimidating posture about her. Lilith is also very well muscled underneath the armor, and so you're pretty sure she's probably a martial or a fighter, something like that. Similar to Stoic, but Stoic is wearing full plate armor, whereas Lilith is in leathers.
Actually, she's going to think for a moment. She's like, wait a second. I have seen you before, though. You were fighting, that half-orc fellow. What was his name?
As she, blows out a plume of smoke, she says, "Anscombe."
Yeah, him.
Yeah, he's a son of a bitch.
Okay.
She takes another smoke.
Not friends. Got it.
No, they are friends. That is how they get along, I think. You see, where Lilith is from, if you insult someone, that means that you're a friend of theirs, right? And Lilith says, "We ain't friends." And Stoic says, "See, they're best of friends."
Oh. Well, it's good to know. I will be sure to not bring him up in future. But how was your days? How did you both fare today?
I got to learn how to smite dead chickens. It was fantastic.
Dead chickens.
Yep. We had to test it on the meat to see if the radiant damage would do anything, and the chickens just explode. It's a mess. Very messy. I just got out of the showers. It was really gross, actually.
Well, that explains why you smell a lot nicer than dead chickens.
Hey, thank you. That's a real compliment. Where I come from, either you smell like dead chicken or you smell like dirt. So
I was actually going to ask you, what is growing up in a mine like?
it's dark. In seriousness, it's hard work. Lots of manual labor, moving heavy rocks about, breaking stone. You develop big muscles, I'm not complaining about that, but you earn lots of backache, and my knees will likely be shot in 10 years.
And she hesitantly looks over to Lilith. You, Lilith, how was your day?
Huh? Oh, it was fine. I put Anscombe on his ass a couple times. He put me on mine. She admits after a moment and takes a hit. Hey, why are your ears purple?
She reaches up and touches her fins. I was born this way.
Huh.
Why is your skin pale? That's, from what I've read about tieflings, that's not normal.
I don't know. I guess my dad was a incubus or something.
What's that?
A devil. Super hot, white-skinned son of a bitch.
Not quite sure I'm familiar, but it's good to know. Lock that away in the vault.
Where do you think I got this pretty face from?
Yeah, well, that's a good point. That's a good point, Lilith. Thank you.
You
And
get
she's just
points. You didn't fucking deny it or some shit. I know I'm
She's
beautiful.
gonna.
She takes another hit.
She is eating now. She's like eating her food, and she's like, "Oh my God, what has sat down next to me?"
Stoic says, "Be nice. He's new. You're." Anyway, please excuse my friend Lilith. She has a beautiful way of words about her, does she not?
Irolahne nods, a mouthful of bread once more.
As you eat dinner, having maybe a little bit strained conversations with Lilith, and amicable conversations with Stoic, if there's nothing else you're going to do tonight, I think that is where we're going to stop the session.
That is it. I mean, aside from maybe wondering what she eats in the astral plane, that, yeah, she doesn't know. She's just like, okay, this is my day.
All right. Not a bad day.
Not a bad day.
Thank you for playing with me tonight, and I look forward to next session. And to all those who are watching, thank you. We'll see you next time. All right.